Thank you for joining us in the Green Tent Circle. I'm going to tell you how we're going to have this wonderful day together. We're going to be meeting Ruth, Broyde, Sharone, who is going to start us out with a video that she has made about the Parliament. So you'll get to see the excitement, who comes, how wonderful it is. And she's going to be talking about what she's doing at the Parliament. And then I'm going to be calling, we're going to go to the gallery view, and I'm going to be calling on each one of you to talk for about 3 minutes. Then Ruth is going to come back on, and she's going to play this song that will probably break our hearts. And then we'll go back to gallery view, and we'll continue to do our sharing. And then at the end, I will fill in anything that I think has been missed about the Parliament. And then Ruth has another song that will just connect us heart to heart. Relax, and Ruth, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Delightful to be here with all of you. The short film you're about to see, I prepared because I wanted people who were just considering coming to the Parliament, who haven't been already, what the significance of the Parliament is. It really was a historic moment. The East and West had not met together in that form before. And what I discovered doing some research about the video was that a lot of Christian ministers forbid their congregants to attend the Parliament. They were really fearful that their congregants might be somehow contaminated by Eastern philosophy. But one of the remarkable things about the Parliament, which is not in this video that I want all of us to know, is that it was the first time that a woman publicly received a doctorate of divinity degree at the Parliament, a woman. Now that was also an amazing event. So there were a lot of firsts in 1893. And this is a film that I made to make sure that all of you who are here today, if you haven't registered, will register, because it's a singular event. I call it Interfaith Paradise. It's an opportunity for us to really understand the breadth and width and depth of the interfaith movement and how much we can achieve together. So Leah, please, if you'll put the video on, and then we'll talk more later. The very first Parliament of the World's Religions took place in Chicago in September of 1893. It was during the World's Fair, the Columbia Exposition, and nobody really knew how many people would show up for the Parliament of the World's Religions, but 4,000 people came, and they met for the first time at the Art Institute of Chicago. It was a historic moment because religious leaders from the East and the West came together for the first time for interfaith dialogue. It was organized primarily by Christians, but many of the Christian churches would not allow their congregants to participate because it was a daring move. It had never been done before. And many Americans had never even met a Hindu, a Jain, a Buddhist. It was an epiphanal moment in the history of interfaith. So many different articles and books and memoirs were written about that event, and they differed in perspective, but they all seemed to agree on one point, that the highlight of that conference was the appearance and the speech of Vivekananda, a Hindu monk from the Ramakrishna order in India, tall, dark-skinned, stately. When he arose and said his initial words, "Sisters and brothers of America," the audience went wild. They leapt to their feet, and it took a while to calm them down so he could continue. I want to share with you now some of the words from his speech, because they point out that then, as now, the main goal is to eliminate violence in the world and to understand many streams, one river. That was his message to us, and it's a message that we still need to consider today.
Sectarianism, bigotry, and its horrible descendant, fanaticism, have long possessed this beautiful earth. They have filled the earth with violence, drenched it often and often with human blood, destroyed civilization, and sent whole nations to despair. Had it not been for these horrible demons, human society would be far more advanced than it is now. But their time is come, and I fervently hope that the bell that tolled this morning in honor of this convention may be the death knell of all fanaticism, of all persecutions with the sword or with the pen.
So what happened after that historic moment in 1893? Well, nothing for about 100 years, but seeds had been planted. And 100 years later, the monks of the Vedanta Society in Chicago said, we have to have a centennial celebration. We can't let this moment pass. And so they organized what is now considered the modern day parliament of the world's religions in Chicago in 1993. And they waited to see, and almost 10,000 people came from all over the world. People came, as the expression goes, out of the woodwork. There were people who just felt instinctively, they felt magnetized, they had to come to that important event. And so the interfaith movement took off in a huge way. And after that, in 1999, in Cape Town, South Africa, 2004 in Barcelona, 2009 in Melbourne, Australia, 2015 in Salt Lake City, Utah, 2018 in Toronto, Canada. And now in 2023, once again, the Parliament will be held in the historic birthplace, Chicago. You should come.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to put it on gallery view, and then Ruth, we're going to hear from you again. And then towards the end, you can talk about all the places they can meet you and see you at the Parliament, okay? Who would like to speak about your presence at the Parliament? And Angela, who is one of the co-founders and conveners of the Green Tent Circle from Brazil and now in Europe.
Hi, everybody. I'm not going to the Parliament. I have a newborn coming by this time, so I'll be with him. But it was very interesting to hear the story, Ruth, of how long has it been going on, and it seems that that message is still the same importance, has the same importance as it has at that time, it has now, maybe more, because now we are dealing with environmental issues everywhere. So I really hope that someday I can make it and be part of this incredible gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, I'm going to call on Jennifer. Forget volunteer.
I knew it. No, I'm eager to go because I feel stirred up. So I was about to lean in, and I would love to get a copy of the quote from the man who spoke at the first Parliament and brought everybody to his feet. Ruth, if you can send that around, it would be awesome, because that really struck me. And it struck me, I've actually never been to the Parliament, and I'm kind of sitting here thinking, shame on me for not having somehow made it more of a priority. I grew up sort of in the Bible Belt, so I always have to shame myself, but no, I shouldn't do that. I'm here now, I'm getting to go. And I think it's so critical at this moment because, as was just said, that quote could not be more real today than any other time. Like I started out at the United Nations advocating for women's rights alongside Ann Smith, and ended up being the first to document the emergence of a effort to take the culture wars global. So a global Christian right faction. They were exporting all of the things that they've done here around the world. And I went off to start a domestic organization called Faith and Public Life. But 17 years later, I delved back in and I see that they're everywhere around the world, and they're organizing to undermine human rights in the name of religion, women's rights in particular, LGBTQ rights. And so now I'm moving into some new work trying to help people counter that and counter it with a faithful voice. And so our coming together at this moment is really, really important. Democracy is backsliding around the globe, even in the most established democracies, and it's being driven by religious nationalism. So we need to do something about that.
So she will be on quite a few panels. You're going to be a plenary speaker, and you're also speaking at the Women's Assembly, I think. We just make sure you have your running shoes on, Jennifer, because you're going to go. There'll be many, many places. Okay.
I will take that to heart. I need your advice.
Okay, I'm going to call on Lo because she's also in the interfaith business and an organization. So, and you've been to the Parliament. So, Lo.
Thank you, Anne. It's a delight to be here, and Ruth, to see you again. And I went to the Parliament in Barcelona and was completely blown away by being in the presence of so many people of so many diverse faiths, and all of them delivering messages that were empowering. And I absolutely, in that moment, wanted to be able to split myself into dozens of people to go to everything, because so much was so very good. And if you can get to the Parliament, please get to the Parliament. I am the president of the Broyde Center, Religion Inside Out, named for the late Reverend Dr. Gwen Broyde, who was a force for making interfaith work be between hearts as well as between minds. And I'll be at the Parliament presenting a film that the Broyde Center created with the support of all of our advisory council called Anima, Animals, Faith, and Compassion. I'll also be there to be support in the green tent and available to help in any way that I can. We're very, very excited. We have a number of our different advisors from various faith communities that will also be there on the panel. So it's, if you can get there, get there. Thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Lo. Okay, I'm going to call on Barbara, but then right after that, I'm calling on great grandmother Mary Lyons. So Mary Lyons, make sure you have your ready to put your video on. Okay, right after Barbara, okay?
Good morning. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Angela, and all you beautiful people here today. It's lovely to be part of this circle this morning. My name is Reverend Barbara Thorngren. I come to you today from southern New Hampshire. We call this the Monadnock region, the land of the Abenaki, Wabanaki, and Pennacook people, both past and present, who have been on this land, and I have been in this on this land for 30 years on this homestead, working with the land, seeing what's being asked. And currently we have what we call Avalon Healing Arts Barn Studio and Sanctuary, which includes a 22-foot Mongolian yurt who does not like all the hot weather that we're having now in New Hampshire, rather be in the drier climate. We have a large 47-foot labyrinth in the fields. We have an art studio, and we have a number of barn animals that come around and participate in whatever we're doing out here. My worship place is outside underneath the trees. We break bread with banach bread we make over the fire and the maple syrup. gifted to us from the trees. And I am participating in a number of organizations, but I am passionate about the Green Tent Circle. We have a lively group that meets here monthly. My dear friend, Patsy, comes all the way from Maine to join us once a month. And we have young girls, and she says it's the best group that she participates in all month. And she looks forward to it very much because they were able to sink into a deep circle together. So we also have young women that participate with us. And our goal is, as you know, in the Green Tent Circle, to support each other and women and young girls and the earth. And so we also have many projects that are ongoing to build up our mason jar of funds, which we will then share with the earth. I am very grateful to be here and part of the Green Tent Circle that will also be presenting at the Parliament. Thank you so very much.
Yes, you will be. She'll be with Leslie, and we'll call on you, Leslie, who'll be the moderator for the Millionth Circle and all the sacred circles. And we'll find her also in the Green Tent a lot. Okay, great grandmother Mary Lyons. And we saw you in the video.
Did you?
Yeah.
I have to redo it again. I'll tell you why I have to redo it again. Well, anyways.
No, the video that Ruth showed of all these people, you were there in that video.
Was I? Now I feel bad. I had to watch. Anyways, I had to let my dog. I had to let my dog out to go potty. I'm sorry. Okay.
Tell us who you are.
And I'm just doing this one short clip, and I already spoke to Anne about it. Bonjour, friends. This is great grandmother Mary Lyons. I'm an Ojibwe knowledge holder and a wisdom keeper, as well as an author. We would like to do a land acknowledgement. Chicago is the traditional homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, Odawa, Ojibwe, Potawatomi nations. Many other tribes like the Miami, Ho-Chunk, Sac and Fox also call this area home. This year, we'd like to share with you just a few teasers we'll be speaking on and being a part of. Uniting to stop violence against women and girls, Indigenous peoples events and sessions, Indigenous women's wisdom, where we will speak about some of the contents of my book, Wisdom Lessons. When prophecies come true, we'll be taking a look at the ancestral knowledge and today's events. Save our planet. Water is life. This will be a panel discussion on events that are bringing forth the safety of these elements. Caring for creation. Women on the front lines of climate action. Here is where we'll be sharing many events that brought us here to today on climate issues. During this time, I'll also be showing a short film clip that we did on line 3. Saturday will be the People's Parade, which will kick off this year's gathering. We hope you'll join us. The Women's Assembly happens on Tuesday. We will speak on Indigenous issues on the freedom of speech in our world of creation and prayer. We hope you join us in our sessions and we can take a moment to visit. Until then, stay safe, blessed, and continue to be a student in Creator's classroom of life. And I just said, join us in Chicago and that's it. I've been asked to do quite a few things and I'm trying to get my schedule correct. So I don't go overbooking myself because I'm a yes person. Sure, I will. Yes, I can. And my helper's always saying, no, you won't. No, you won't. You've got this to do. But anyways, it's going to be such an honor to be with you all. The last time I was there at the Parliament was in Utah with the Grandmother of the Sacred We, with the group I travel with. This year I'll be missing them, but they're all in their own areas doing what they know how to do best. I will bring their essence along with me. So I'm excited to be with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I'm going to now call on Linda Higdon. Can you unmute? Because I want to say that on Monday at noon to 1, we're going to be opening the Sacred Circle in the Green Tent. And so all of you come. I've already recruited Mary, and there will be all of you who can. And there'll be a sacred ceremony opening our circle. And the Green Tent is now 50 feet by 50 feet. It keeps growing. So it's quite nice. But we have a special dedication. I wanted to have a live tree to be our center, to be the altar. So Linda is going to be bringing and you can tell why, Linda, my darling.
Yes, honey.
You're a tree.
I am beyond honored. I cannot believe the company I'm keeping, and I want to have coffee with you right here, right now for the rest of the day. This is quite an honor for me. Anne and I met many years ago. We both were working at the same international women's organization in Washington, D.C., and we've been friends ever since. I always say when I met her, I wanted to be her because she knew so much about women's issues. But the reason that Anne has invited me in is that my husband passed away about a year ago, very unexpectedly, from a year-long, really brutal cancer journey, appendix cancer. And Paul was loved by so many of the women in my network, like Anne and just, you know, all these women that I've met globally. One of the reasons that I'm so proud to do this, first of all, it really is quite a gift, if any of us can remember this, when a woman is in grieving of her husband or a loved one, to have this kind of somebody coming in from the outside and giving public recognition or recognition to remember your loved one has been a major boost in my healing journey, Anne, big time. And the reason I think that I'm so honored is, first of all, Paul and I have gone to all of the parliaments other than South Africa. So Barcelona, Melbourne, Salt Lake City, Toronto. And Paul and I loved the parliament. And in fact, a number of years ago, we were invited to also serve on the board, but we were so jam-packed with other obligations, we knew we couldn't give it full service. Paul was an extraordinary man in the sense that he had no time for exclusivity when it came to religion or faith. I mean, that was just a non-starter. He was highly educated, Oxford University, Cornell, went to school in Washington, D.C., in economics and politics, and he could have led a life of exclusivity had he chosen. But he and I became very engaged with the people of Kenya. And he even, 2 years before he passed away, wrote a book about his relationship as a father to a street boy in the slums of Nairobi. And so you can imagine the conversations those two had about religion. It was amazing. And so I just feel very honored. And by the way, I wanted to add this one last thing, Anne. I actually worked for a little while with the, what were they called? Wangari Maathai's group.
The green belt.
Planting the trees.
Green belt, the green belt, yeah. So, I've worked with women at the grassroots level, at the leadership level in Kenya. And we worked for a while with the green belt group. They've planted, something like 2 million trees now. So this is just a huge honor. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. All right. So Ruth, let's take a wonderful break and listen to your music that is really about the environment and is the reason why we have the Green Tent Circle, why we're coming to the Parliament, why we have this campaign that we have started that everybody can do something. So after you hear this song, we'll go back to making sure everybody is heard and we'll continue the conversation. So Ruth, take it away.
The song that you're going to hear now comes from the musical Meet Me There, the Interfaith musical. And I could not imagine creating a musical that had to do with today and the interfaith community without including something about the environment. And at the first public performance of 8 of the songs from the musical, I was very fortunate to find 2 Chinese American performers, one a singer and one a rapper. He's one of the best known Chinese American rappers in the country. And so you will see how the environment is approached from both a rapping point of view and a plaintive lament about where we are right now.
trees. You have robbed the coral from the seas. You have compromised the honeybees. You're to blame, bear the shame, it's not a game. You have hungry children left to feed. You consume resources you don't need. And you justify your global greed. You're to blame, bear the shame, it's not a game. What have you done to the earth, my friend? Where did you go wrong? What will your life be worth, my friends, when the snow cannot sing her sweet song? What have you done to your souls, my friends? You cannot make things whole, my friends, if you are living just for today.
What's the cost of this little onslaught? What's the lot of the cattle that we slaughtered just to keep on top? Lost of the errors of the wild and free. Now we face the brink of the next Pleistocene. The scene is grim. The odds of our survival run from low to slim. And you can leverage the forest for recordings and a mortgage. I think those who came before us raise their voices like a chorus. Consider the rivers that once flowed here. Now it's just concrete and corner stores here. We used to set feet on the sticks and stones. Now they clothe them in plastic and hide in our homes. We used to roam, we didn't need to go wrong. You wanted a factory, the ground provided the coals. All came at a cost. Humanity, what we lost. Turned living trees into law to make it to building blocks.
The swallow cannot sing her sweet song. What have you done to your souls, my friends? We have lost our way. You cannot make things whole, my friends. If you are living just for today, just for today.
Ruth, you're going to be playing your music. Tell them where.
Yes, I wanted to share a few of the things I'll be involved in at the Parliament. So the first one, which has to do with the theme of today as well, it's called Saving Seeds and Storytelling for Survival. And it's a video that I put together from people from different parts of the country. It includes Anita Sanchez from the Native American tradition, also Aztec, and Yolanda Nava, who is the first female Latina to have a major role as an anchor here in Los Angeles. Dr. Claire Nelson, who is from the Caribbean and is a futurist and is working together with the White House on programs about the future. And Audrey Kitagawa, who was, I'm sure you all know her, she was also the first woman to be appointed as the head of the Board of Trustees for the Parliament. And so that's one of the events that I've created, and there will be discussion afterwards. And then I'll also be offering a special workshop with an artist, Heidi Harden, and a dancer, Elizabeth Joachim. The three of us are putting on a workshop called Celebrating Our Diversity and Unity Through the Arts, because I have been, I would say for the last 30, 40 years, a proponent of using the arts to convey the most important messages of our times, because we know that intellectually people know what's happening, but they haven't been moved yet by their heart to do something about it totally. And that's part of the job of artists of today, to wake up people, and so that they resonate with the idea of our responsibility. And I'm also participating in an event called Beyond the Box. When religion limits, how can we use it as a stepping stone to a mystical experience? Another event with the North American Interfaith Network, which was the first organization to have an interfaith conference even before the Parliament in Chicago in 1993. They met in 1987 in Omaha, of all places. I'm very excited that one of the songs from Meet Me There, the Interfaith musical, will be performed at the Sacred Music Concert on Thursday evening, the 17th of August. And just for those of you who haven't been to Barcelona, for example, or any of the other parliaments, the Sacred Music Festival that was held in Barcelona rocked the entire city. It was held in front of the Gaudi Church, which is still unfinished, the church, La Iglesia de la Familia. There were 8,000 people outside, and nobody left until the end. And the end were people up and dancing in the streets of Barcelona. So this will be an opportunity to experience the music and the faith and the religion and the chants and the songs of all the different faiths from around the world. So that's going to be one of the highlights. And I'm very honored to be able to share one of the songs from the musical, Meet Me There. The last thing I wanted to say is there's also an interesting workshop that's called A Multi-Faith Perspective on Cow Dye's Tools for Self-Realization. And probably most of you have never heard of the religion, the cow dye religion, that emanated out of Saigon some 75 years ago. So one of the things the Parliament and the interfaith community has been doing very assiduously is to bring out from the shadows the people of faith who don't identify with the main religions, and to be able for us to learn about them and to see ultimately, and this is the most exciting part of, for me, the work. The Swami Vivekananda said, many streams, one river, that all the faiths point to the same principles and goals of self-realization, of caring for the earth and caring for one another. So those are some of the things I'll be involved in. And a little bit later, I'll play one more song for you. And thank you so much. I appreciate your appreciation of what I'm doing. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Ruth. Okay, I'm going to call on Leslie next. And then I'm going to be calling on Winnie. And I saw Christine at one time, and they can be talking about their workshops. Because one of the things I'm so excited about is a chance for us as women from around the world to come together and be that powerful force for change. We are not going back. We are not going to succumb to any backlash. We are going to move forward in the most wonderful, powerful force of love. So I'm going to go to Leslie, my dear friend from the Million Circle, who will be the moderator.
Thank you, Anne. And thank you for your unending energy in doing what you are so passionate about, and how you've been doing that for the last 22 years that I've known you, and I'm sure way before that. And thank you, all of you who are busy in your own fields, doing what you're passionate about and what makes a difference in your own worlds. Just a little bit of history. At the South African Parliament, there were a group of friends of mine. I wasn't there, but they brought a video called Becoming: Women's Circles, Women's Lives. And that led to, in the year afterward, the creation of the Millionth Circle, which was based on Jean Shinoda Boland's little book about the Millionth Circle. It gathered 25 women who had been very active in the circle path, the circle way, circles as a spiritual path, circles with a spirit, with a spiritual center. And so that's what has brought me and brought a group of us to the Parliament, to bring the circle technology that allows for both personal transformation and collective transformation for those who are part of that. And I'm just honored to be the moderator of the circle entitled The Million Circle, Reaching a Tipping Point That Transforms Everything. And of course, that's personally. And for those of you who have been in circles, you know the power that that affords. I also started a nonprofit for youth, for girls to start with, using the circle model, and now it's girls and boys. I think I'm just glad to be moderating that panel, which of course, Barbara, you're on that panel. And also to be doing a number of things at the Green Tent and whatever other things Anne points in my direction, I'll be there. So thank you, and so great to meet all of you.
Thank you, Leslie. All right, now I want to, and don't forget, Laura, so I am going to call on you, and I'm going to call on Sharon, and I'm going to call on the others. I'm going to go to my Episcopal Church women, dear friends and colleagues who work in Circle and who have going to put on an amazing workshop. So Winnie and Christine, take it away.
I guess I'm speaking for the three of us. I am dialing in from Los Angeles, Torrance actually, but Los Angeles. It's good to see you, Ruth, and it's good to see you, Laura. I work with the Broyde Center, for and with the Broyde Center, and have since the inception of the Broyde Center. So Lo is my boss, but she's also my dear friend. And I'm so looking forward to being with all of you in the Green Tent at my first Parliament. And I'm told it will not be my last, because once you go, you just kind of get in the zone with it, and you almost need to be there. So I will be representing the Broyde Center in one of my panels, but most of my panels and the workshop that we'll be presenting, I'm representing the Episcopal Church women of Province 8. And Province 8 is basically the Western United States. All of the states that touch the Pacific Ocean and the states that touch them, that far west side of the United States. Very excited to represent Province 8 Episcopal women. We've been working on a leadership program based on the circular model with Anne and other women across the country to develop this leadership program to empower women. And we'll be presenting a module of that leadership program dealing with nonviolent communication, which we really believe is truly important when we're organizing for around issues that we're passionate about, like climate, women's equality, gender issues, all of that. Nonviolent communication is really important as if we want to bring people into our circles and create new circles. It needs to be inviting, and it needs to be a place that's positive and centered. So I'm looking forward to joining you there. Anne knows the panels that I'm going to be speaking on better than I do at this point. What have you signed me up for, Anne?
I have to tell people later because there's so many. There's 800 panels and workshops. It is a smorgasbord that is happening at the Parliament. 5 plenary events. There are at least, I think, 4 assemblies. One's a women's assembly. There's 2 for the Climate Action Assembly. There is for the Global Ethic Assembly. Anyway, and I want to just make one change. The Faith Parade starts at 1 o'clock on Sunday, and you're all invited to be a part of that for clergy and for those who have these wonderful, if you're a nun, you get to wear a nun costume, if they still have them. No, they don't. But anyway, that will happen on Sunday. And I will repeat some more, but I want to make sure we get in quickly. Leah and Sharon, just your comments. Then we're going to go to Laura. So Leah, what are you doing?
Okay, I try to be super quick. I'm going to be in a couple workshops in the Women's Village. One is called The Spear Within with Erin Beatty, and it's about removing internal limitations. And I'm going to be in a workshop with Patricia Farrow on what happens when women converge. We're noticing that as women come together, because we're so safe with each other, it brings up a lot of unprocessed trauma. So there's a real huge potential for working through that trauma together so we can move into the higher vibrations together. So she's going to be covering that in her workshop. That is August 17th at 1 o'clock. And then in the Green Tent Circle, I'll be helping out in the tent. We're going to be launching our Everybody Can Do Something campaign at some time within there. And I'm putting together a promotional video reel to show everything that we've been doing up to this time to play in the tent. Yeah, I'm also bringing a sail house book from Maine and from Acadia National Park to show what's blooming on the East Coast, which is really exciting. And I'm going to be in the panel for Women in the Media, Reclaiming the Narrative. It's going to be a really beautiful, exciting panel. That's August 17th at 4 o'clock, talking about how women are really introducing this circular, organic way of sharing news and sharing information from the grassroots. And then I'm also bringing a nonprofit that I'm involved in Southeast Michigan. We're going to have a booth number 324, and our mission is redefining online communities. So it's this bringing technology together with the sacred and using technology to serve the soul instead of serving the ego. So exciting to see all this converge. And then I'm also really excited to hear Laura Saw talk about the workshops, which I know are going to be phenomenal. So I can stop there.
Thank you, Leah. And Leah's the one that puts together our website. She helps with a lot of the technology, and just like the rest of you. And I want to say Barb is home on the range putting together these green bracelets and other things that we will have for anybody who says they have committed to an action, that they will get a green bracelet, or we can put it on there. We have these wonderful buttons that are coming that are the dandelion buttons from the Million Circle and Green Tent Circle that you're going to love. We're all dandelions. You can try to mow us down, but we pop right back up. A few more minutes, and then we'll open for comments. So Laura Starr, you're on.
Okay. Thank you, Anne. It's wonderful to be here together in Sacred Circle with all of you. It's thrilling to be able to return to the Parliament again. My very first Parliament, we went with a delegation from our Southern California committee of a Parliament for a Parliament of the World's Religions, which Ruth is the co-founder of. And so we went in 2009 to Melbourne and we put together some programs there, and it was wonderful. For me, it was an answer to a prayer. It was like being in heaven on earth, to see the beauty and the diversity of over 125 religious and spiritual traditions and indigenous peoples from many different nations, especially the Aboriginal people. It was amazing. I think it was about 8,000 people from around the world. And it sparked something in me that just was there before, but now it was just reactivated and unearthed. A couple of months prior to the Parliament, my islands of Samoa had been hit by a terrible tsunami in September. And so after the Parliament in Melbourne, I was able to go to my homeland and be able to bring together some programs to help the orphan children and those with disabilities, and to work collaboratively with the Parliament through the Southern California chapter with Ruth and many other wonderful leaders. A couple of years later, we had another program at Soka Gaga'i, and that's where I got to meet Gwen Giborg. She attended one of my Pacific Island Maori traditional spiritual workshops. And after that, she was like, you have got to be with me at the Giborg Center, join our advisory council. And so I got to work with many wonderful interfaith leaders. And I was able to go to the parliament and participate again in programs in Salt Lake City in 2015. And let me tell you, growing up in the Mormon community, to see the diversity of religions and color and everything coming together in Salt Lake City, the headquarters. And then there was this beautiful concert. And on the stage, you saw Ganesh, you saw Jews, you saw Muslims and Hindus and children of all ages, young and old, all of God's beautiful children coming together to celebrate and honor life and caring for creation. We are part of God's beautiful creation and artwork. So when we dishonor one, we dishonor our creator. I was hooked from the very beginning, and it's an honor and a privilege to serve with many of you. And really to come together, and great grandmother Mary, it was such a treat to see that you were on here today, because great grandmother Mary is on 2 of my programs for my One Global Family Alliances, and then also Unity and Diversity World Council, the International Councils, Congress, and circles of women and youth. And so great grandmother Mary is our featured speaker in 2 of our programs, which she mentioned. One is When Prophecies Come True. We have Patrick McCullum sharing about the prophecies of the Amazon people, the Kogi. And then great grandmother Mary Lyons is going to be talking about the prophecies of the elementals. We have messages from Chief Arvo Looking Horse, the keeper of the sacred white buffalo calf pipe bundle. We also have another surprise elder as well that we're still working on confirming. Hopefully it's Uncle from Greenland. And then we move into our other program, which is Save Our Planet, Water is Life. We'll be honoring the Water is Life movement that began in Standing Rock, North Dakota, and continues, because the sacredness of water, we really need to recognize and honor that without water, we do not exist. Without all of the elementals, we will not exist. And so it's an honor to be a part of this. I'm looking forward to embracing many of you that we've only gotten to know on Zoom, to be able to hug. And I get to play with Leah and one of her nonprofit teams with another program that they've got going together. I'll be in the Green Tent Circle area, contributing to wherever Anne wants us to participate. And so again, thank you all, and looking forward to seeing you all there. God bless.
Thank you, Larissa. Okay, let me just go quickly to Gail, who is one of our faithful Green Tent Circle beautiful women who makes beautiful drums and does ceremonies and everything else. Do you want to say hi? And then to Sharon, and then we're going to finish with the song. So, Gail.
You and I obviously have tapped into the same creation vortex, because as you were planning your button with the dandelion on it, I was planning a painting to raise money to build little blue cabins for the homeless in my area here. And it's going on sale next week, and 100% of the proceeds go to the Little Blue Cabin Project, the dandelion, merging with the light. And the teaching says, of course, you know, the homeless are treated like dandelions, thrown away, mowed down, discarded, and not respected. So every painting that I do in the series called Planting the Seeds of Hope, 100% of the proceeds go to the Little Blue Cabin Project for the homeless here in my area. I can't come to the parliament, but I do my little bit here where I am.
You do a big bit, Gail. And if anybody wants a personalized drum that comes from your spirit to her spirit, and she puts it in art on a drum, Gail is the person to go to. So
I worked on Lowe's drum yesterday. I got the hide ready and the frame ready. As soon as all these paintings are out of the way, then I go to the next project, which is your personalized drum.
That's right. Don't forget about me. Okay, Sharon, hello.
Hi there, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you and to listen to all of your stories and your contributions. I began this work in kind of 1989 through the Dances of Universal Peace. And then it moved into me getting a certification or something like that in universal worship, which also came through the Sufi order. And then it progresses to, I would say in 2000, I had the opportunity to attend the United Nations Millennium World Peace Summit for religious and spiritual leaders. At that time, it was mainly Buddhists, rabbis, bishops, you name it, all talking on the big stage, and the indigenous were in a whole nother room. And I remember hearing, I think somebody referred to him as uncle, but the Iceland shaman who touched me at that time, and that was 23 years ago. I was very impressed by him. Then I move ahead to being invited to my first Parliament of World Religions in 2004. And sadly, there's some things I lament about that, because I was invited by the International Association of Sufism and spoke on 2 panels, but I felt committed to being with them. And so I didn't really get out there. And I didn't get to be on the streets with all the, wonderful things that were happening outside that one big building. So I've always kind of regretted that. But then in 2018, I just felt a calling to go to the Parliament of World Religions in Toronto. And that was like heaven opening. The amount of attention that was given to Indigenous peoples started to kick it off the whole first day, everything, and then women, and then the earth and climate. I mean, it was like my heart was overjoyed to see that we were really finally coming into a really right position. So my life has been very busy. I teach at 2 universities, and sometimes I feel I'm not contributing enough, but then I tell myself, yes, you are, because you're teaching all these students and you're bringing this stuff to your students, and then that goes out to others. So yes, I am making a contribution, although I wish I could make a much bigger one. I'm going on 81. I write a lot. So anyway, I spoke at the Parliament of World Religions in 2018 on a panel that was more on shamanism. Then, because my life has been so busy, I had not thought of going to the Parliament or even making a contribution. And then suddenly I felt a calling. It's like, you cannot miss out on this. I don't care about making a contribution to my own or not. I just want to be there and be there with everybody and support the whole process and learn from all. So that's pretty much where I am now. And I really look forward to joining with the Green Tent as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for my long little speech here.
No, thank you all for being here in this wonderful square-like circle. Just think that we have been in a circle. And that's what we meet. We meet every Saturday just to be with one another, share what's going on, share information, help with one another's programs and projects, because we really believe the more that we can nurture ourselves and one another and Mother Earth circle by circle, we will transform everything, everything. They'll be on our website. I also know on the Million Circle website, there will be a lot of listings of workshops and panels and etc. And other places there will be apps so that you can do the different tracks. But it is going to be wild and wonderful. It's going to be life-changing, even if you've gone to every parliament that there is. But the thing is for me, it's going to the well. It's going to the well where I can be replenished to keep on keeping on. And I don't want to say anything more except for I want Ruth, and you're so right, the arts, the music, the dance, the plays, the poetry, the storytelling, all that we'll be doing in the Green Tent. They say it's so much better than my words. So I'm going to say goodbye to all of you. So Ruth, take it away.
Thank you for this opportunity to be with all of you and share my art, my work, my passion, my love. And I'll just very briefly say that this song you're about to hear, We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For, was inspired by Barbara Marx Hubbard. Some 30 years ago, I heard her speak to a group of women in a Malibu house, and people they were spilling off of this staircase as well as being in the main room because we all wanted to hear what she had to say. And she silenced us all by saying this: everyone here is waiting for that special one, some divinity, some savior, some miraculous individual to come and save us. And I have news for you. No one's coming, she said. And the room was so silent. And I think some people were even started to cry, and some people were offended by that comment, people who have certain religious beliefs. And then she said, I have news for you. We're the ones we've been waiting for. And that inspired this song, sung by the wonderful Quincy Coleman. Thank you again.
Not just you and me, but everyone, not just he and she, but everyone, not just they and them, but everyone together. Not just here and there, but everywhere, not just near and far, but everywhere, not just where we are, but everywhere together. Not just now and then, but all the time, not just if and when, but all the time, not just if we can, but all the time together. We are the ones we've been waiting for, all of us together. Everyone, everywhere, all the time. Everyone, everywhere, all the time. Everyone, everywhere, all the time. We are the ones we've been waiting for, all of us together. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Fantastic.